Hello Assemblies of God, Great Britain. I just want to share some reflections on our recent trip to Poland, where we went to see firsthand the work of the Polish church and what we as churches have been contributing to through our Impact 25-40 appeal. First of all, I want to say thank you. What an incredible response from all of our churches. So generous and so quick to respond. And because of the speed of the response, we thought we need to go and visit and see it. And Pastor Marek Kaminski, he's the head of the Pentecostal churches in Poland, and he gave us an invitation. He said, you've got to come and see. And so it was a quick visit, but we spent the whole 24 hours with him, and he was able to show us exactly what our giving has been going to. It was an incredible journey, and our first stop was into Warsaw, and we were taken to a warehouse where the pastor there, Pastor Alexander, he was originally from Ukraine, but had moved to Poland many years ago and was pastoring a church. In Poland, there's about 8 Ukrainian churches that were already established there. And so, of course, they responded and quickly, and they were never into logistics or transport, but they got this warehouse, and all of a sudden they became an avenue, a vehicle literally for aid to get into Ukraine through their networks and their contacts. As well as Pastor Alexander, we got to meet Peter. Peter's a pastor from America, originally born in Ukraine, but he moved to America because his father, under persecution, had to flee.
Dear friends, first of all, I want to say God is good and He is in control of everything. My name is Peter. I'm born Ukrainian, raised most of my life in the U.S. Came to Warsaw, Poland, for one reason, the same reason that Polish churches here, Ukrainian people, and the whole world is watching today as everything unfolds in confusion. But the Christian people, any people and everybody trying to pitch into this to do one thing, to help, to have the compassion and love for others. So what's happening here, we got this big warehouse that never full. Everything that comes in gets sorted out, loaded on the trucks, and over into Ukraine. In Ukraine, there's another warehouse, get distributed, and from there, smaller vans come in and take help.
І вони просять теплу білизну,
They're asking for
носки,
warm clothes.
це такі підколенники, такі, ну, вони
The
медичні.
knee pads,
Да, і
and
бушлати.
socks.
Холодно.
Some, like the coveralls.
Це те,
the
що
warm
потрібно
ones.
так, найважливіше і найскоріше просто.
That's what needed, important and now.
Вони стоять Донецька, Луганська область.
As well as this, it is a massive involvement of volunteers. Pastor Alexander shared with us that people would finish work and come and serve for hours, sometimes sleeping overnight, just to get the aid to where it needed to go. From there, we traveled along the highway about an hour and a half drive to a place called Lublin. And again, we met Pastor Sergey, another Ukrainian, who had actually fled in 2014 from the initial conflict that was there. And so he had been pastoring in Lublin. And of course, he straight away, like most of the churches we visited, all the churches we visited, they turned their sanctuary into a place of shelter, a refuge, a safe place. And so what was their sanctuary? I remember we were standing in it, standing on the stage, and it now had beds all through the church. It was quite moving where we got to meet some of the Ukrainian people who had literally just arrived and fleeing the conflict zone.
Снаряды в эту сумку попало.
Машину обстреливали.
Russians were shooting at the luggage, and this is the result of shooting at the luggage. And this is their car.
То, что эти люди сюда доехали, это чудо Божье.
Tak strzelali do nich Ruscy.
It was so moving to see how the church was there for them, to counsel them, to love them, but also give them the practical help that they required. From Lublin, then we went to the border, and it was an eerie feeling walking up to the border. And again, it's hard to put into words what we saw. Obviously we see it on the news, we see people coming across the border with suitcases, mums with kids. But to see it firsthand, to be there, was very impacting. But the flip on that, in such darkness, people coming out of such darkness, is the light. To see the Polish churches and the Polish people, it wasn't just the churches, but other volunteer organisations, in giving them an embrace, a welcome. There were makeshift stalls set up where people could get fresh food, they could get toiletries, they could get clothes, toys for kids. It was beautiful. And even SIM cards so they can put the data in and be able to access and communicate to people in Poland and beyond. And we'd hear stories about people arriving at 9, 10, 2 a.m., 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, 2 a.m. in the morning, and just the church opening up their doors. And of course, all of this, all of the resource to make this happen, the warehouse in Warsaw, the churches in Lublin and Helm, all of the food, all of the clothing, all of the nappies, everything that they need when they come across and they come into these places of shelter. Plus, the pastor was saying, normally they used to only put the heating on 1 day a week. Now they're open 24/7, so their heating bill. Pastor Marek was sharing with us just the fuel costs. I mean, it's a 3-hour drive from Warsaw to the border. And so just to go and meet the people that have come across the border from Ukraine and then bring them to the shelter, the fuel costs. There's so many costs that we just don't even think about. But the power of your giving, of our giving, is that through our Impact 2540 appeal, we're able to help resource the churches in Poland to meet the needs. The Polish church, from what we experienced, was being the Good Samaritan to their neighbour. And what we can do as Assemblies of God Great Britain, what we are doing, is that we are able to resource the Good Samaritan on the ground to be the Good Samaritan to the neighbour who needs it. So I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for your generosity. It has been an incredible response and the need is still there. So we just want to continue to pray for Ukraine, but continue to pray for the Polish churches. As well as what we experience with Pastor Marek and the Polish churches, we're also partnering through the giving with Pastor Yuri in Ukraine. And so we're able to get the funds to him, and he knows exactly where the greatest need is within Ukraine. We want to make sure that we're helping in Ukraine as well as the churches that are accepting, being the Good Samaritan to the Ukrainian people who are coming across the borders. So keep praying. Thank you for your generosity, and thank you for resourcing the Good Samaritan.